Okay, I thought we'd have an update of what we've got done for a Friday final here for Scrap Busting January. We're making these things for Operation Christmas Child. It's fun to see the scraps come together. What once were scraps like those have now come together into gifts for children. First is a little doll hat and dress, which I started and my daughter started a year ago, and we just finished her up. This we finished before. I was trying to make the skirt, so we actually did this before January 1st to make the pattern, because I have a dozen more of these little girls to dress here. Okay, next is my 9-patch quilt, which I've never made anything like this before, but I just had these squares. So I took this fabric and cut it into squares, and since I had 4 of these, I cut 5 of those and made a 9-patch. I added a satin binding to the top so the child has something soft. So this is really kind of like a doll blanket. Then I also made 3 other doll blankets. I like to wrap my babies up in them like this. These I actually started at the same time I started the baby doll dressing and just never finished them. So I just hemmed the edges and put a binding across the top, and that's all. I no longer am making these for my babies because I have a friend, Shell at Shell's KBs, who crochets blankets for me to wrap my babies in. Okay, I also got 2 pencil cases done. My daughter actually sewed them. I cut them. I probably have 3 dozen more cut out that we haven't sewn yet. These 2 I actually made ahead of time to be able to make patterns for. I have 8 more of these cut out now and ready, and probably a couple dozen of these cut out. All of our bags we line. If I can get this open. All of our bags are lined. So I wanted to make one of these to be able to make the pattern for the lining, because I had to take the front, give it a different back, because these are just little squares. So I have 8 more of those, and there's also birds just like this. And then we got some tote bags done. I had fat quarters, 8 fat quarters. So the lining was 1 fat quarter and the outside was 1 fat quarter, but they were a little bit too long. So I was able to cut off a couple inches, 2.5 inches, I think it was, 3 inches. This looks like more than 2.5 inches, doesn't it? I cut off the strips and then I sewed them together so it's outside lining, outside lining. And there's 2 of them. So we were able to get 2 more. They're a little bit longer. I probably should have trimmed up the sections, but so they're a little bit longer than I normally do, but they'll still hold a notebook and all the school supplies that we send. I used the quilt binding scraps and just edge stitched both edges, and that keeps it closed and gives it some strength. These also are lined. So that's what we got done, and we actually started the first, other than these couple things in the skirt. So we started the first, and this is what we've got done so far. I've got a whole bunch more cut out. We've had some sickness in our family and work schedule and stuff that kept us from sewing a lot, but hopefully next week we have a lot more to show you. So we still have a lot to do. A couple things I'll show you in progress. These are 3 sets of strips. I have them all set up here that I'm going to sew them together. I'll make a tote bag out of some of them, and then the leftover, after the tote bag's cut out of this, I'll make some of the smaller bags, drawstring bags, which I have these extra little pieces that I'll use for the casing for that. As I was going to cut some of this into tote bags, Sarah said, "Oh, wait a minute, can we use some of that heavier fabric for tool belts?" So now I'm going to be looking up how to make a tool belt to include in our 10 to 14-year-old boys. So I have some of that set aside for that. And this is all our upholstery scraps. I had some cut out, and we decided to wait and do those all at one time because of changing for the heavier needle and everything. So we're going to do those probably nearer the end. And 3 of my little dolls have their skirts all cut out, ready to be sewn. They're waiting patiently. We got these at girlscoutshop.com. They're regularly $19.95 on sale for $2.99, so I went ahead and ordered even more of them. So I'm going to be making clothes for them for a long time. But the sash, someone asked, does it come off? They're stitched here and at the waist, but you can pop those right off. Just cut that thread and they'll come right off. The reason we're making skirts is they were a little bit short, we felt, the skirts for some cultures, so we decided we would make a longer skirt for them. So I might make some dresses for them too, but through the scraps I'm just going to probably do the skirts now. Still have my birds to do and all these other things. But I'd like to hear if you're scrap busting with us, what you're making. Check out So Delightful. Suzanne is crafting with her scraps. Shell at Shell's Cabies has been knitting some cute little bunnies. She also does preemie hats for another ministry. So check out what they're doing, and we'd love to hear what you're doing. And if anyone's interested in a video of how to make the tote bags or the pencil cases, I've streamlined it so that it's really quick and easy to do. If anybody's interested, the main patterns are on simplyshoeboxes.com under the crafts. You can find the instructions, step-by-step illustrated instructions there. But if you'd like a video, please comment and let us know, and we'll try to put one together sometime. And if you want to see more of this, if you want to learn more about shoeboxes, go ahead and subscribe to Sarah's Simply Shoeboxes. I'm just a guest here. I'm her mom, Cheryl. I'm on YouTube as Cheryl Simply Blogs. And so if you see comments, that's me. But anyways, I'm thinking about doing a whole bunch of the dolls at one time and maybe having a little, let me give you a little fashion show of their outfits. So, if you have any questions, ask them, and I'll see you next Friday.